What's going on, everybody? Good to be back on the second live stream of the year. I think I might have done a few before in the winter, but today we're talking about hunting out and finding good real estate deals. And then we're going to do a little bit flip-flop today. Instead of doing Q&A and hanging out in the beginning, I'm going to do it towards the end. So later on when folks want to watch this on YouTube, they get basically the meat of the topic right off the bat. So we're going to jump right into it. If you guys have questions, throw it into the comments section and I will answer it periodically throughout the video, okay? And then, like I said, we'll hang out towards the end. So if you guys can hear me or if you guys have any issues with the video feed or the sound, I realized I had to bring this mic up to my face instead of right by the computer where you can hear the fan. So if it's not sounding better, let me know, okay? All right. So today we are talking about, let me pull up my notes here. It's how to find properties. This is actually a question that I get a lot because obviously the channel focuses a lot on early retirement and making money, saving money and growing money. And my area of quote unquote, I guess, expertise or niche is real estate, specifically rentals and building. And the question I get is, how do you get started, especially when you're young and you don't have a lot of money? And what do you look for? Like, how do you find properties? How do you filter through all the things that are going out there, especially in this market? We're going to hammer down on that. And we got to stick around to the end. I'm going to talk a little bit more about, I'm actually heading over to the property this week. Today's Sunday. So probably tomorrow or Tuesday, I'm heading over there. How I got this property basically for $0. Like literally nothing funny, no scammy or anything like that. But it was just a deal that came up that we're going to be able to actually rent it out for about 6 months, 5-6 months. Literally no money out of my pocket, don't have to pay rent, mortgage or anything, just use some utilities. And I'm going to tell you all about that here after I go through the 5 ways that I basically find properties. And I know a lot of other successful real estate investors who do it with a lot of success as well. Okay, let's jump right into it. What's up, everybody? Okay, so then the first one that you probably have heard of is auctions. And so a lot of times what ends up happening when there is, what's it called? A lien holding or tax lien or even banks, when they need to liquidate a piece of property because the current owners can't pay the taxes or can't pay the mortgage or whatnot, they have to sell the property and get cash instantly, right? They don't have time for people to go through the whole inspection process, going through banks and all that stuff. They just need cash fast. They go to auction houses. And every single, I want to be careful when I say this, every major city I know has it. And then a lot of the metro areas around those major cities have counties that hold auctions, from what I know anyways. If you guys know something else or just know something different, throw it in the comment section. But from my experience is that you can find these auctions just doing a quick search. Usually if you can call the county, you'll be able to find out where do they sell their properties that have tax liens on them. A lot of times they'll have, and once you get a hold of those auction houses, you can actually get an in and understand what the schedule is, how often they have auctions, and the types of homes. Now, the one thing about auctions is that 2 things that will hold you back. 1, sometimes it's invite only, you have to be a member. 2, you've got to have cash. And then 3 is that you buy the property as is. So sometimes you know a little bit ahead of time, maybe a week in advance, a month in advance. You cannot enter the property. You can only walk around it, and whatever you buy is what you get. So you got to be ready for anything, basically. I've seen some properties with just giant gaping holes around the exterior, and you find every single type of rodent and animal living inside the crawl space inside the home. I've seen plants, trees growing into homes, and everything in between. So, but at the same time, you can get some really nice places. Like my next door neighbor was an auction home, and I totally wish I'd pulled the trigger on it because I knew everything that was wrong with it, and it wasn't that bad. You got it for 65-70% of market value, and the only thing the new owners had to do is change the carpet, and maybe paint. That's it. So But with the cash part is when you go to an auction house, you have to have cashier's checks, because basically when you bid on something and if you win, if you don't pay for it literally that day, right after the auction ends, you forfeit the home. And it goes to the second place person who had the second highest bidding. And so what ends up happening is you have to go there with a bunch of cashier checks, because you're bidding in increments, right? You're not just going to throw out a bid for, $100,000 and then what if it goes for 110? So you have to have like a $100,000 check and then a $10,000 check, cashier's check. That's a tough part. And then the second one is sometimes some of these auction places, you've got to be vetted. And sometimes there's small membership, not all the time, but sometimes there is a membership fee. But if you score one deal, it pays for itself. So it's worth looking into. Google it, check it out. Every single county, major city has something like this. You just got to spend a little bit of time in finding it. All right. Number 2 is what I do a lot is I drive a lot, especially going back and forth from the properties, checking things out, or even when I'm just out and about hanging out with friends. I will, what's up, Paul? I will take a look and see what the properties are doing, what's for sale, how long stuff has been going or have been up for sale. And so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for duplexes or investment properties. And basically what I mean investment properties is a lot of times I can tell the difference. You do it long enough, you'll be able to tell the difference who actually owns their home and who rents the home. Either because you see for rent signs over the years that you're there, or you see a lot of changeover between people who are living in the property, and just the state of the property's in. You get to know an area well enough, you just know these things. You know this neighborhood everybody owns, you know this neighborhood everybody rents, and then you know the neighborhoods where it's a little bit mixed use. But what I'm looking for are duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, sometimes up to 8. But realistically, what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to find the ones that look like the owners or the landlord doesn't really take care of it, which means they don't really care. They might be willing to cash out. And what I'll do is I'll find a property that I like, and I will take a stamp of the address. I'll take a quick picture, look it up later on Google Maps or something, and I can reach out to the owner by going into the tax records with the county. It's public knowledge and or it's public information, so you can jump in there and you can reach out to that person. Sometimes email, phone number is not available, and so you have to mail them a letter. But regardless, you can kind of poke out there and just kind of put out feelers and see what people want. It's not 100%, but at the same time, it's feeding your what we call a sales funnel, right? You're just kind of seeing what's out there, and that one time you get a bite, you could make easily $50, $60, $70, $100,000 depending on what the deal is. All right. Number 3, where I'm sure everybody does this today. It's very, very saturated, but it's still a great way to look for stuff. I almost got a deal done a couple weeks ago. Just got outbid because it went crazy. I literally was like probably the first person to jump on it. I saw it completely randomly. A property popped up within the first 24 minutes. But by the end of that week, there's probably 15 bidders on it already. But it's Zillow and Redfin. And this is a great place to just do their preliminary research. And because you can see giant swaths of the city or the area that you're looking for and just pinpoint stuff. Now, the only thing with Zillow and Redfin is that it's public, meaning that it's on the MLS or your local multiple listing service. And so everybody's going to see it. But what I'm looking for are the properties that haven't sold for several months to sometimes years. But usually it's in the several months, 100, 200 days. Those are the ones that you know have issues. And then the ones that, I'll talk about the issues here in a second, and the ones that have had pending and they go back for sale, those are good ones because you have the power. If you really want the property, you can negotiate really well because the seller is probably most likely going to be pretty motivated to sell it. And so I'm pinpointing those properties, and usually the ones that have gone pending 2, 3, 4, 5 times and haven't sold, or the ones that have been sitting in the market for 200 plus days, you definitely know that there's something wrong with it, whether it's a tax lien, it's building issues, zoning issues, or even it's too much of a mess where most homeowners, 95% of them, don't want to touch it. And then the small percentage of investors, they might not just have the time or the expertise to do it. And usually these are foundation issues. The most common one here in my area is, for some reason, back in the day, they would run sewer and water lines and power lines through other people's properties, or somebody would build over their water line, and so they can't access it anymore. And so it's a huge deal to try to get access to it. And so those are the ones that I've noticed. One thing I've said before is anything related to construction is 100% fixable. It's just how much time and how much money do you have. And if you know how to do things well, you can make a lot of money. And that's how this piece of land that I have now, I got at a steal. It sold previously for, I think I said this in my last video, or one of my previous videos. It sold previously before I bought it for $365,000 for 7 acres. I paid $90,000 for it. Obviously it was cash, and it was a short sale, or it was a foreclosure. Nope, it was bank owned. And the reason behind that was because it was quote, quote, had land issues. And so over the course of, I think it was about a week, hired a land surveyor, got a geotech engineer out here, and then basically bought it with the contingency that I got full approval from the geotech. Everything came back. Geotech cost me $2,500. And then I got the piece of land for basically $92,000, $93,000. So you can do this with properties all the time. So I focus more on land issues and, like, aesthetic stuff inside, slanting floors or walls looking weird. It's not a big deal. It's just a framing issue that you can fix. So Zillow and Redfin, really great for that. You got to understand what you're getting into, a saturated market. You got tons of eyeballs looking at it. But if you seek out the ones where everybody have already pushed off, a couple 100 days listings, and a lot of pending issues or previous pending issues, I would totally jump on those. All right. Fourth one, for sale by owner sites. And those sites are different because those are the owners who are trying to cut out the middleman, basically, the agents, right? The real estate agents. And so they're trying to keep that 6%, which sometimes is quite a bit of money. What is that? A $500,000 home is 10% would be $50,000, so about $25,000-ish in commission fees that they would save by selling it themselves. Now, the thing is that a lot of homeowners who are trying to sell it themselves, they're not super educated on how to list it or the best way to market it. So they'll put it on a for sale by owner site, or a few of them, and then they'll put a sign outside their door, but it's not going through the MLS system, which is where everybody looks. And I'm sorry to say, but unless you have really good contacts, you're not going to be able to sell your home by yourself very easily unless you create a commission for agents to come and show your house. So even I have tried to circumnavigate that, but I realize that I always have to give at least 2% or so to a buyer's agent. But still saves me 3 to 4%. But if you go to these sites, what ends up happening is that you don't have a lot of competition because these owners are just trying to sell it, and they list it on just the for sale by owner sites, which usually don't get a ton of eyeballs, especially in specific regions or specific cities. So I've noticed that if you go here, you can actually talk to them. Now, granted, sometimes their expectations are pretty lofty, and it is a nice bonus to be able to negotiate directly with the seller, but sometimes they are not the most negotiable or the most, flexible. So keep that in mind, but also it's a great place to start looking for deals without a lot of competition. And then number 5, which any agents out there who sees this, they probably will not like it, is what I consider RA, which is also known as real estate agents. I consider them retainer agents. And so at any point in time, a lot of people think that you can just work with one agent. As a buyer, I can work with an infinite number, that's not infinite, but a ton of agents, basically. They're all basically working for me in the sense that they're feeding me different deals, and a lot of times they're feeding me deals before it hits the market. Just earlier last week, I got an email from one of my agent friends who says, like, hey, got a property about to go on the market. It's a duplex investment property, needs some upgrades, hasn't hit the market yet. If you would like to take a look, come and take a look. You can make first offer before it even hits the market. So I get those emails every couple weeks, maybe a few in a week. But the point is, you have agents out there who know that you're a buyer or you're looking for a property, and they will constantly email you, set you up, and they're incentivized to give you a good deal or to sell it quickly. So I have these agents looking at land for me, looking at different areas. I know certain agents focus on one part of town. I know certain agents focus on duplexes and fourplexes, that I will let them know what my criteria are or where I'm looking at or what my price range is. And they just feed me a constant flow. Now, the other thing about agents, they're not just trying to sell you stuff. I also, as you know, manage and own rental properties. And so a lot of times I'm looking for clients, or I have properties or I want to expand the business and manage more properties. They'll come to me and say like, hey, I got a new client, just bought a new home, wants to rent out the old home. Would you like it? Like, yeah, let me take a look at it. And that's how, which I'll get into a little bit, how I'm getting this other property for basically $0. What's up, guys? How y'all doing? Hit me up if you guys got questions in the comment section or the live chat, and I will get to them soon here. All right. So we're talking about the retainer agents. Great place to start. And like I said, it's totally free. So with those 5 things, so going through them, you go do a quick Google search, look at auctions, tax liens, banks who are looking to offload their books and basically just get cash. If you have cash or you have an ability to get to those auctions, great place to just even learn and kind of bump elbows with other investors or people who are looking to invest. 2, simply drive around, find places or properties that you're interested in, and then do a quick county search on tax records, and then reach out to the owner yourself. 3, Zillow and Redfin, focus on the ones that have had a lot of pending statuses change. And also who've been on the market for, I'd say right for this market, 100 plus days, you start getting into the realm where the seller is more motivated to get rid of the property. 4 is for sale by owner sites. These owners don't always list on the mainstream MLS system, and so you won't have that much competition. And you get a one-way ticket call to the owner themselves, so you can negotiate directly with them if you're a good negotiator. And then number 5 is working with actual real estate agents who I consider retainer agents, and they basically just spoon feed you deals. You find different agents for different criteria, different areas of town, and they just send you text messages and emails on what they find. Now, how I get most of my properties now, and granted I've been doing this for a little bit, but still totally doable for anybody who's starting off, is referrals. And this is through friends, clients, and then agents are kind of like, some of them are my friends too. But they are bringing me a stream of new potential properties and basically new customers who want me to manage the properties. And most of the time it doesn't always work out. The property is too beat up, or it requires too much work for me to actually manage it, or it's just not the right fit for whatever reason. It's too far away. It's usually the answer. The point is that if I bring you 100 deals and you can walk away with 3, you are sitting pretty. So what ends up happening is you build your reputation, your experience, your professionalism well enough, you start finding this easy flow of not just cash, but properties. And I still trying to find a way of how to teach that. Outside of trying to hunt for them and find them, but it's also working hard and being patient at building your business or building your expertise to eventually you get to a point where people come to you. And that's sort of where I'm breaking into right now, where I'm getting at, whereas the last 3 deals that I've closed on or that we're working on have all just been basically referrals. And you talk to any business owner, any type of real estate investor. My good friend who's a huge real estate investor who does big commercial projects, hundreds of millions of dollars. He just closed a $100 million deal simply through quick, hey, you should check out this guy, talk to this person. Walked away from a business lunch with basically an $80 million contract. So this same thing happens on the smaller scale, like with you and I who are looking at homes, we're in a couple $100,000 range. So never underestimate referrals, and the hunting and figuring it out is the easy part. It's the patience and the hard work building that reputation. That's usually the more difficult part. All right, let's take a quick look here. So if you stuck around this long, how long have we been live streaming for now? Gosh, it's already been 20 minutes. So like I said at the beginning of the video, is I did get a piece of property completely free. And this is how I did it. And it's one of those more unique situations where it came across my desk twice already. And this time it just so happened to work out really well for us. Is that basically is a referral from one of my real estate agent friends. And they just sold a home for a client. Or I'm sorry, they just bought a home for a client. And now the client has 2 homes. The client is buying a second home but currently carries a mortgage on the first home. And banks right now are still relatively conservative and want to have a certain debt to income ratio. And that's kind of tough for most folks when they have 2 properties that they're paying mortgages for and they're not income properties. And so what they ask is to get a rental agreement in place or contract that shows that they're going to cash flow or at least have income on their other property, their old home, before they can release funds for the new one. Make sense? So what that does is it increases the income of that person and it reduces the debt to income ratio. So banks are more likely to loan to them because they have a contract in place. Long story short, we've done this once before in the past to help out our current homeowner, and where we lease the property from them to show that they have cash flow or that they have rental income, and then we take over that property and then they're able to move into their new home. This one was a different circumstance where they want to sell it this spring, but the banks want a rental agreement in place right now. And they came and they're desperate. They have the cash, they have the money to buy the new place or to service the loan, but they needed somebody to basically rent the place for the next 4 or 5 months. And they didn't really want anybody living there for that long because they did want to put it on the market later this March or April. So they came to us and asked if we could basically sign a lease with them, paying a monthly rate, and then they would only charge us like 2 months, something ridiculous, and then we could cash flow and sublease out the place however we want to do it to cash flow it. It didn't make sense to us because it's the slowest season of the year, and it doesn't make sense for us to stage it, put furniture in it, get utilities up and running, take pictures, get it on Airbnb, HomeAway, VRBO, bookings on all these sites, and then it usually takes at least 2-3 months to get reviews going, to get that property set up, run, and going. They came back and they said, what if we just gave you back the money? And we're like, so we just handle utilities? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, we still have to spend $10,000, $15,000 to stage it. They're like, don't worry, we'll stage it for you. We'll hire a professional staging company and take care of all the major furniture. Done. So we don't pay rent. We don't have to worry about furniture or staging. And we just pay about $200 in utilities, power, water, trash, and internet. And then we have a bunch of spare mattresses, we have spare artwork, we have spare chairs and such, but all the major couches, rugs, bed frames is all going to be taken care of. And what that means is in that area, because we have a couple properties actually really close to there, is that it's going to probably gross us around $3,000, maybe let's say $2,500 a month. Take out that $200 in utilities, we're basically going to be making about $2,300 in cash flows each month on that property until this March when they'll take it back. That's one way that we've learned that we can basically generate extra money. But it's not being lucky. It's not even just having 1 or 2 good contacts. Those definitely help, but it's just our reputation and understanding how the business works helps put us into a spot where opportunities like that pop up, where we can go in there and either negotiate, say yes or say no. A lot of times we say no more often, but when it comes to it, it's just a great deal where it's very minimal work for us. We just plug it into our system, and it's another cog or another wheel in the cog. It's another piece of property in the system that we just plug and chug, and so it's going to work out well for us, and we're expecting it's going to make in the next, during our slowest time of the year, it'll cash flow and make us about between $8,000 to $10,000. Not bad. Cash flow. So after all expenses, it's just an extra 10 grand. So you do this long enough, you'll be able to sift through deals and find stuff just like that. With that, before we get into the Q&A here, I wanted to talk about two things. I know a lot of you out there are interested in real estate and getting into it. And before you do, I want you guys to be careful, because I do know that folks like me or Graham Stephan or other real estate agents, or not agents, but real estate channels, they'll make it look really easy and they'll make it look really attractive. You can make a ton of money. There is a risk to it. And the two ways of really making money is these two things that you just have to understand right off the bat. Is you have to determine what your value add is. When you step into the equation, what are you bringing to the table that you can sell, rent out, or profit from the property? It's not just a matter of buying and holding, crossing your fingers, and thinking that the property is going to increase and then people are just going to rent it from you. My property or my value add is that I can go into beat up places and I can fix it. Right away, I put in my sweat equity. I can negotiate. I got deals on subcontractors, supplies, equipment, tools, all that stuff. So I can rebuild, remodel, do whatever I need to do. And then I increase the value of the property and I can rent it out at a higher price. I don't want to say never, but I will never buy a brand new construction that's already done and hope that I'm going to make money. Those are not investment properties. New construction, 99.9% of the time, are not investment properties, unless you just have a ton of cash and you want to sit on it for decades. So determine your value add. What is it? Is it you're able to remodel it? You're able to dress it up. You're able to repurpose it. You're able to somehow divide up the property and rent it out to multiple families or guests. What's your value add? And then once you can determine that and what you're good at, then you can go in and start investing in properties, and people will know you as, hey, you're the person that converts homes into duplexes, or you're the person that does the remodeling, or you're the person that focuses on short-term rentals, or you're the person that focuses on renting out individual rooms, or whatever it is that you may do. And then number two is in real estate, and I hope this is seared into your head because it got seared into mine, and I learned it the hard way the first time I bought my first place, is 70 to 80% of your profit in real estate comes from the purchase itself. It does not come from the end when you sell it, and it doesn't come from the cash flows from when you rent it. It comes from the deal when you purchase the deal. And so, like this piece of property, the land that I bought, I made most of my profit, if not all, no, not all of it, because I built it up too. But the land itself, I bought it because I found a killer deal. Right? I found a piece of land that was sitting on the market for 3 years with landslide issues, and nobody wanted to buy it. And it was discounted at like 66% off, right? 2/3 discount. And I was able to go in and figure it out with a geotech engineer, get it signed off, figure out a solution. Cost me all total said and done like maybe $12,000, and I bought the land for $90,000. So all said and done, I'm in it for about $100,000. Just sold a couple years prior for $365,000. So that's where I made the bulk of my profit, is in the purchase. And you do that with other properties too. When people say, it has a foundation issue, nobody wants to touch it. And you realize you get a foundation guy in there, or you know how to do it, you know how to jack up the house and whatever, and it costs you $50,000. But everybody's discounting the house because it has foundation issues. They're discounting it at $100,000. Right? You can go down the road with this. Water leakage, roof issues, flooring issues, framing issues, all this stuff. It's just always about the numbers. So, long story short, what's your value add? And understand that you make the bulk of your profit, 70-80%, in the purchase of the deal, not after you buy it, or not how you sell it, or how you cash flow it. All of that is just icing on the cake. Got it? Okay. Looks like there's a couple of us in here, the stream now. How are you guys all doing? Let's answer some questions. If you guys got questions, it's already been 30 minutes. I've been yapping around for 30 minutes. Goodness gracious. All right. Any questions, hit me up. I'm going to hang out here for a while. I'm going to answer some emails, and then I'll do some work. See, I'll turn up the music a little bit. By the way, this music is all copyrighted or copyright free. I do pay for it. I subscribe for it. How's the sound? Sounds all good? Still good? Video still good? I'm gonna move this right over here. What's up, Paul? I'm glad you like the advice. How have you been anyways? I want to see you pop it up in the comments section. I appreciate those comments. What's up, Dexter? Yeah, you know what? I felt super guilty, so I'm building that new shipping container home that I was talking about in the last one, and so construction. I'm building out the shed. Long story short, and so I'm trying to clear out the garage, get ready for tools and everything, and I ran out of time to actually film my next video, and so I figured I had a spare hour this morning, which isn't enough time to script, make a thumbnail, film a new video, and then edit it and get it up and going before tomorrow. So I figured I'd do this now. Yeah. It's my way of being lazy. Sorry, guys. What's up, SW? Good to see the old crew in here. How do you see, good question, how do you see the next few months playing out in terms of buying, investing in properties? It depends on your market. I just got a message saying that the stream is acting kind of funny. So if you guys are not getting a very good feed right now, just let me know. But let me just type this in here before I start talking and none of it goes through. Yeah, so SW, in regards to your question about the next few months, I think right now it's a time to sit back and watch. It doesn't mean there aren't deals out there. Definitely there can be deals out there, but I think that those are going to be a little bit harder to sniff out. You'd have to go back. I'm not sure if you saw the first 30 minutes. I'm sorry, that was so long. I was expecting that to be 10 minutes. But if you did those first 5 things, like you partner up with real estate agents, you're looking at Zillow, Redfin, you're driving around, you're looking at auctions, you're doing you're going to for sale by owner sites, and you're taking a look at that, you could probably hunt out a deal. The thing is that right now the economy is really good. People are really flush with cash. People are pulling out loans. People are quote unquote thriving right now. And so it's going to be, you're not going to see too many deals out there like we saw back in like 2009 through like 2015. I do think that's going to change. But with the real estate market, it's always a lagging indicator. So whatever happens to the market, so let's say that tomorrow we're in a recession. Stock market loses a ton of value, yada, 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 everything tanks, right? it's still going to take about a year or so, maybe 2, for us to see the effects through the real estate market. So it's, gosh, right now I would say to hold on to your cash, but keep looking. But that's obviously my market. A lot of other markets, geez, it could be completely different. It really depends. So yeah, but if you can find a place that is really beat up and you know how to do some work, or you can learn how to do work, or you're not afraid of hard work, that's where I made a bulk of my money. Really, I learned that, and then I realized that if you build your own place, you literally double, sometimes triple. I tripled my money when I built my own place. Awesome. Thanks, Dexter. What's up? Looks like we're getting a little bit of flow of new folks in here. How's everybody doing? Yes, it's the second stream of the week anyways. Well, actually today's Sunday. It's a new week. So if you guys missed it, I just spent 30 minutes yakking away about how I find and hunt out real estate. Right now it's just kind of a Q&A and subscriber hangout where I basically answer any questions. You can ask me anything about money, real estate, investing, stocks. You can ask me anything about my personal life. I'll try to be as transparent as possible without being weird or creepy. So jump into the comment section, ask away. I'm going to be doing some emails here and some other work. I got a trip coming up to Vietnam and Thailand and Southeast Asia in 3 weeks. So I got to get ready for that. Oh, bummer. I didn't know you missed it. It's okay. I think you just rewind it, SW. Strange you didn't get a notification. Whoops, sorry. Paul asks, what are the more important skills to have if you need to build your own place? What are the more important skills to have? That's a good question, Paul. I mean, let me put it this way. I wasn't a builder before. I mean, I did like basic remodeling stuff. I could patch stuff, like very, very basic level handyman, homeowner type of stuff. But my thing was that I came back from my MBA, my grad program, and it was learning how to learn. It's learning how to get through problems. And I've said this before. I don't want to come off like a Tony Robbins or anything like that, but failing is one of the best things that can happen to you, because when you fail, you force yourself to learn to get past it. So this room alone, if you guys can see, this wall right here is one of my electrical walls. This wall has a ton of electrical wires going through it. Literally, this whole section right here is lined with wire. And it took me a while to figure that out. And sometimes I messed up and I crossed wires. You guys can see it. That's like a little storage closet right there. I crossed the wires in there for the lights, and you just have to be able to work through that process, learn it, and then basically after that, you get over that hump, you can move on, and now you know how to do electrical work, right? You do the same thing with plumbing, you do the same thing with HVAC, you do the same thing with framing, drywall, so on and so forth. But it's learning how to learn, man, and it's sticking to it, being patient with yourself, and then you guys, gals out there, a non-negotiable, if you ever want to be wealthy, rich, financially free, whatever it is, I don't care what your niche is, you have to work diligently. You have to work diligently, and you have to be willing to put in the hours, and if you're good at it and you enjoy it, it's even better. But outside of winning the lottery, outside of your mom and dad giving you a ton of money, you're not going to be able to make that money without actually physically, emotionally putting work into it. It just so happens that I love what I do, and so it goes a lot easier. I get in this easy flow state. But even if you did win the lottery, your parents gave you money and you didn't work for it, and you don't know what hard work really is, you don't know what it's like to fail and then overcome that failure and then keep on going, hit the next failure, overcome it, you're going to piss away all that money. Just being honest. Seeing my friends, or you're gonna be miserable because money came to it too easily. Good question though. SW, how did you decide to choose your current locale, weather, cost of living, good surf? Great questions. Dexter, do you have any advice for a college student that doesn't have much to start with? Ooh, really good question. SW, to answer you first, how do I choose my current locale? You would have to watch the whole channel to see it, but like basically I went through a lot of different stages. At first I lived in a smaller city, about 50,000 people, and then I went to the suburbs of a big city, which was like, roughly 1 million people, and then I went to live downtown, like heart of the city of where like the young, high-paying professionals were living. That's where I got my probably my biggest windfall, that the condo, or penthouse condo, whatever you want to call it. And then I did the whole beach bum thing where I lived in Costa Rica for about just under 6 months. I thought I was going to live there for longer. Couldn't stand it. Anyways, filtering through those different options of the suburbs, small city, city, beach bum, surfing, I realized that I was able to cherry pick what I really enjoyed from each of those places. And I figured that I liked to be near cities, but I want to be secluded in a place where I could drink well water, good air, quietness, a few neighbors that I really care about, that I can talk to, interact with, but still far away enough away where I can't see them, hear them. And I realized it was the country, and I wanted to, I did a lot of reading on what are great health benefits and living inside a city, around the smog, around the noise pollution, around all the lights. And just that hustle and bustle is actually not good on us. You might not mind it. You might not even notice it. But generally speaking, it's not good for you. And I did some reading, and it says waking up to greenery, and looking down on things is actually really good for the soul. That could be some hippie stuff. But I found this piece of land, and I'm looking at this view right now. Do you guys want to see the view? I hope I don't mess this up. I'll show you guys the view. I'll turn the view around, or I'll turn the camera around so you guys can see the view that I'm looking at. Is that I get to look down to this valley and see the water, see the lake, see the trees. Right now it's fall and autumn, so all the trees are changing colors. And I wanted that. So, and it feels at peace. And I hear the rainfall, I hear frogs, crickets, all that stuff. So that's how I decided. It sounds cheesy and sappy. The weather here in the Pacific Northwest sucks right now. I'm going to Southeast Asia right now to see ideally I'd be moving around every 4 to 6 months. So I'd love to stay in the Pacific Northwest in the summertime, basically May through October. And then right about now, I'd be jet setting to somewhere else. Southeast Asia is a possibility. New Zealand, the northern island, is another very strong possibility where hopefully you guys will see me making videos. But check out this view that I have. If I can turn this. Whoops. Sorry, you guys. So that's the view I have. You can see right there is the valley, and then to the right of your screen, is the lake. So we can't see it right now because we're in the back part of the house in my studio. But let's see. Further that way is the lake, and so you can see the trees across the way. That's all protected land, and it's just right now it's bright with colors, and hopefully over the next couple of days it's going to start turning red. But yeah, it's just really beautiful out here. I love it. Looking down, seeing the fogs and the fog cloud come across. It's really cool. All right. Oh, hi. Cost of living. So, gosh, a lot of good stuff here. So, cost of living, you guys. I'm basically vomiting everything that I know, and so I hope it doesn't come off Tony Robbins-esque though. But essentially, cost of living is however you make your cost. I live in a very quote unquote high cost of living area. It's how you define it. It's how you create your own expenses. So obviously, if you want to live in the center of downtown and you want all the nice stuff and you want a nice apartment, your cost of living is going to skyrocket, right? Honestly, you guys, my cost of living, my baseline cost of living for me to survive and actually still like not be homeless but live fairly well, it's $900 a month. And even before that, it was $2,000. If you guys remember, my old channel name used to be the 24K Life. Now it's because of $2,000 a month or $24,000 a year. And it got confusing because people thought that's how much I made. It wasn't how much I made, it was my expenses. And so if you can figure out a way to really get that expense down low, the door's open for you. So right now the doors are, there's several doors open for me because I'm living off of less than $10,000 to $12,000 a year. So if you think about it, if I make $30,000 a year, I'm feeling really good. I can travel, I can save a bunch of money, I can invest, I can do anything. And so some years, it is as low as 30,000. And then I'll have a really great year of over 150,000, and then I'll have a year of 80,000. And as an entrepreneur and everything, things fluctuate a lot. So you have these huge windfalls where you make hundreds of thousands, and then you have months or years where you make almost nothing or you lose money. But if your baseline is constant and you're content with that lifestyle, and mine is, I surf, jujitsu, build, and travel, and if I can do that for $12,000 a year, so many opportunities are available for you. Good surf. I'm gonna go check out Da Nang, Vietnam here in a couple weeks. So I will try to do a live stream from Vietnam with you guys. I'm not gonna be bringing all my equipment. I'll have just my phone. So hopefully I can show you guys what it's like in Vietnam, and I'm gonna do a video over there. Another great way, back to your question, is finding. My business professor called it rat-like cunning, finding ways of not paying stuff. So my Vietnam trip, I'm gonna film for you guys. It's gonna be a business write-off, tax write-off. Good surf though, I'm gonna go to Vietnam, Costa Rica, Southern California, San Diego area, Oregon, Washington coast. There are some good sites, good spots, but it's freaking cold, 47-degree water. Hawaii, Mexico, haven't done much in Mexico, but yeah. My favorite surf spots though are probably Hawaii. I know it's so cliche, Hawaii, and Costa Rica. Guatemala's not bad too. All right, Dexter. Dude, SW, it gets so, not a ton of bugs, but we have a ton of box elders and stink bugs, and they come out for like 2 or 3 weeks, and ladybugs, like this month in October. It's nuts, but they're gone now. Advice for a college student doesn't have much to start with. Dexter, I think I might have written this to somebody else. It was somebody else. They had asked similar questions. It's a great thing that the advice I would give myself from the very beginning is, dude, focus on your credit score. Have your parents put their utilities in your name and just keep paying it like normal. Or get yourself a low credit limit credit card and rack that thing up and then pay it off at the end of every month. Obviously, just your essentials. If you can get a cash back credit card, even better. The point is that by the time you get out of college and that you're ready to start making financial jumps, dude, it's so much easier when you have good credit and you have accounts and you have relationships with banks that are willing to loan you money. Now, you might not need it. You might go off and start your own business. You might make it big with the next real estate or the next stock market correction. But those may be long shots, and it never hurts to have good credit to fall back on and good relationships with banks. The other thing is, dude, is learning and figuring out as many things as possible so you don't get blindsided. It's kind of like, I see it as, do you guys ever play Command and Conquer, Red Alert, or or Warcraft, like any of those old school games? I grew up on those. It was like a fog of war, right? So you could only see the area that you were in. You didn't know what was just like up north of your base or to the right of your base. In Command and Conquer, it's called Fog of War, and so you had to like expand out and kind of get rid of that fog. And so that's the same way that I see about learning stuff in your college days, is like expanding out, like how do you make money? How do you make just $100 at first? How do you make $200? How do you get the highest interest? How do you get the best, what's the best credit card for you? How fast can you build your credit to above 750? And as you branch out, you start to taking away that fog of war. And then especially for folks your age, if you can understand how real estate works, like fundamental level, nothing crazy, and how stocks work, dude, by the time you're 22, 23 and you graduate college, you're gonna be set up. Because now you know how to live like a very effective minimalist lifestyle. You have really low expenses. You understand how real estate works. You learn how the stock market works. And the hundreds of dollars or maybe even $1,000 plus that you save each month and you can reinvest, by the time you're 30, you'll be in a very similar situation to me. That's my short way, my long, short way of explaining it. But yeah, invest, dude. My last video, if you need to learn, dude, start with like literally $1. You know, I got that SoFi link. I'm not sure if you signed up for that, but that's a legit thing. And I haven't invested for a long time, and I'm kind of warming up the gears in my head again of how I made money in stocks like 10 years ago. How to analyze companies, how to track the market, buy bits of stock. You don't have to spend $1,200 to buy Google anymore. You can buy Google for $1. You know, use that, learn, track the market, invest in index funds, buy when things go down. All right, let's see, what else? Hopefully that answered your questions. All right, I'm gonna hang out for like another 5 or 10 minutes and then I gotta take off here. I got some construction stuff to do. Dude, by the way, do you guys like poke bowls? Gosh, poke bowls where I'm at, they're so expensive. You guys know what poke bowl is? It's like the raw ahi tuna, and then they mix it in a bowl of rice with like a bunch of like nori, like seaweed and sauce and like veggies. Oh, it's so good. Anyways, they're like $15 a bowl here if you go out and get it. We found the local grocery store. They were on sale. The poke was just towards the end of the day. It was 25% off. Bought it. Dude, made the best poke bowl for like $8. Not even $8. Yeah, like maybe $7. Like half price, like a huge bowl. Love it. Awesome, Dexter. Yeah, if you sign up, they're asking you to upload documents? Huh, they didn't ask me to do that. Make sure it was SoFi. Make sure it was the right app. They're not asking you to like upload something. $15 what? What was $15? But if you make sure you deposit, you have to deposit that $100 first, and then we both get that $50 stock. So if you don't, it's kind of tricky. They make it kind of tough where if you don't deposit $100 within the first, I think 14 days of opening the account, maybe it's 30 days, check the fine print. We don't get it, but otherwise would get that $50 if you do. They give you $15 stock? No, I don't know. Oh, $15 for the poke bowl. My mind, man. Yeah. Got it. Still kind of slow this morning. Dexter, what year in school are you and what are you studying? Paul, you still in? SW, are you investing right now in real estate or in stocks? Paul, what's up? Still here? Paul, do you mind? Are you? Whoops. Sorry, guys. Hang on. Paul, are you Hawaiian or Samoan? Just your last name. It sounds like it. Nice. SW? Is it doing fairly well for you? Are you doing individual stocks or are you doing like index funds? Looking into buying a home base. Nice. Home base is nice. Having a home base is very nice. If you can do like some sort of like getting into a duplex or like a single family home with a basement and a top part that you can rent out, that's the ideal situation if it's your first place. Okay, Dexter, I gotcha. Yeah. For ID verification, I think I remember I may have had to take a snapshot of my driver's license. Yeah, I think I vaguely remember that. It's SoFi. If it says SoFi, it's totally legit. So. Swahili. Okay. It totally. I thought it was your Samoan or something. That's so cool. Do you speak Swahili? Swahili? SW. You're super smart. Yeah, you're doing funds and dabbling in individual. That's a smart way of doing it. Has it been doing fairly well for you? Dexter, you're a freshman? You're a freshman, you're watching these videos? Dude. God, I wish I had your guys' initiative when I was your age. Sorry. That was my business partner that just called me. So I'm assuming, no, you don't speak it. So I'm assuming you were born here. I'm the same way. I was born here. My background's Vietnamese, and so I can't speak. I mean, I can speak it very brokenly. As to how to pick a spot because I haven't found one place that has it all, and I like to explore different areas. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But you know what, SW? A lot of times, if you can go into a place and just because you don't like it or you grow out of it, it doesn't mean like it's your end all. You can always, sell it if you need to. But if you buy a place that you can kind of do some research and understand that you can rent out later on, so you can move and cash flow it for you, you can do that. I did that quite a bit. It's just hopscotching. Been okay, can probably done more, try and become less than super saver and more investor. Smart, SW. It's a gradual process. Don't push it. Right now is a good market. Remember, right now is a really good market. Buy in the dips, but yeah. If you're already a super saver, that's fantastic. If you can become a super saver and investor, even better combo. Paul, you speak French? Okay, cool. Are you from like Toronto area, Paul? Your dad's Swahili. Okay, I gotcha. I wish I spoke French. My girlfriend speaks a little bit of French. What's up, superstar? Dude, superstar, I don't know why your icon always makes me giggle and your name always makes me laugh in a good way. Well, thanks for jumping on if you're driving. Hi. Shipping container homes are not energy efficient, but you can make them energy efficient. So what ends up happening is it's a great, very aware question because we all know that metal transheats or conducts heat and cold very, very well. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing. So what you have to do is you have to insulate really, really well, and you have to be careful because of metal. You guys all know how condensation works, right? It's a hot day, you put a glass of water out with ice in it, condensation builds up. So what ends up happening is that you have to use closed cell spray foam, which basically attaches to the metal, and it's what's called transferring the thermal barrier. So now no longer is the thermal barrier the metal, it actually is the foam itself, and then you have a thick 3-4 inches of spray foam where condensation can't occur, and it blocks out a lot, if not all of the heat or cold. Actually, it's never all. The big thing though is your interior walls, and the reason behind that is because outside, I like the look of shipping containers, so I'm going to leave it exposed. Is if it's really cold or really hot on the outside, you guys know if you touch metal, the heat will transfer all the way around the home. So one thing that I'm playing with, that I'm going to do, is actually with the engineers right now, is a lot of people, they just leave it like that and they try to insulate it, and then they realize that it gets super hot. And the reason behind that is your house is basically this giant radiator with these metal fins going into it that are warming up from the outside, or super cold and getting super cold and cooling your inside. Not good. So you create these thermal breaks. So basically imagine imagine this whole wall right here is a metal wall, and I cut a hole in it from floor to ceiling. I'll cut like a little slit, like maybe a couple inches wide, right? And so now I created a thermal break. So now that the rest of the wall isn't connected to the outside. You do that with all your interior walls, so you break it up and it becomes a lot more energy efficient. Now in terms of being energy efficient, once you create that thermal break, very energy efficient, because you have this spray foam which closes up basically all the little gaps and holes inside the home, and it's already contained, right? It's a container. So you don't have a lot of loss, airflow, and heat. So I like it. And you're recycling. I'm buying each of my shipping containers for around $1,800 to $2,000. I have to do a little bit of work because it's gonna be rusty. I'm gonna paint the whole thing. This was not a big deal, but yeah. In terms of green, it's definitely more green than building from all new lumber like I did with this house. Dexter, I messed up my first 2 years of college pretty bad. My GPA is too low to get my scholarship back. I'm already in massive debt. Learning motivates me to tough it out though. Ooh. Well, just talking about missteps, I did the same thing. My GPA was not the greatest, you guys. I think I barely got a 3.0, 3.1 maybe. Yeah, that sucks that you lost the scholarship, but if it's your first year, consider going to a local community college that can transfer credits. Take classes at the community college for like comms, those liberal arts classes, geography, all those classes that you need to take, maybe even some of your prerequisites at the community college, where you pay like $100 a credit before you transfer back and pay like $300-400 a credit at a local university. But that's good, Dexter. Stick to it, man. If it's something that you really want and you want to learn, do it, man. I mean, if you're watching this video, or watching my channel, you're already doing a great job. All right? SWS, what I've been learning from you. I have a place that cash flows and allows me to follow. Summer fun, different. Yeah. Hopefully, I'm trying to do this channel to... by no means do I want to show off this stuff, but I want to show what's possible, because I feel like when I was your guys' age, or in my 20s, I didn't know what was possible. And so I was always looking up to like these like 50, 60-year-olds who already made all the wealth that they were going to make, or a ton more. And I want to focus more on the lifestyle. And I think everybody who's in here right now, you guys understand the lifestyle I'm trying to build. It's not about the Ferraris, the nice clothes. I mean, like, God, look at me. I'm dressed like a slob, right? The watches or the jewelry or like the jet setting. To me, it's the lifestyle. Like, I wake up whenever I want to wake up. I wake up in a mortgage-free home. If I want to go surf today, I can go surf. If I want to go do jiu-jitsu, which I want to do here in a little bit, I'm going to go do jiu-jitsu. If I want to build, I can build. And if I want to eat nice raw ahi tuna tonight, I can do that. But it's more about the lifestyle. And from that, exactly what you said, is find a good place to live freely, and then be conscious of how you spend your money. And then do whatever you want to do with the rest of your time. I think the tough thing, like a lot of my good friends, I love them to death, is that they have these great jobs that pays them $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, and when they make a sale, they make upwards of they could make into the millions. But the thing is like constant stress, waking up every morning at 5 in the morning, working until 7, 8 o'clock at night. And you do that over the course of 10 years, you just realize that you just lost a whole decade of your life working. I'd rather lose a decade of my life making friends, helping people like you, training, traveling the world, hanging out with my girlfriend, hanging out with my nieces and nephews, that type of stuff, you know? Got it. Tony Robbins, right? I'm a cheap knockoff Tony Robbins. All right. You made your account in middle school? You had a YouTube account in middle school? Man, I am getting old. Superstar, just out of curiosity, you don't have to give me the exact age range if you don't want to, but how old are you? How old is everybody in this chat right now? And how old do you guys think I am, if you guys don't know? Shipping containers feature larger vans. Wonder if they can partially be covered by dirt. SW, no, you're absolutely right. You can. They are just a large van, so that's why I like to link them up, cut open a hole, and kind of broaden it out to make it more of a living space. I'll give you guys a full tour once I get the shipping containers here and everything. But yes, I've seen people bury them. The only thing with burying it is then you deal with corrosion, because obviously it's still metal. It can rust, it can rot out, or not rot out, but rust out, and you get holes in it. So if you actually painted it and you sealed it with something and then you buried it, it could definitely handle the load. You might have to engineer it a little bit, but yeah, you totally can. I've seen people do it. But yeah, to get geothermal properties, it depends on the region that you're in. You don't have to bury it super deep too. I think it's like 18 inches, maybe 3 feet in some areas where it gets super cold, but it's crazy. It's if you go down, let's say 3 feet, it's like a permanent 65, 68 degrees once you get down low enough. The ground is a great insulator. 25, okay. Wait, you're 25 or you think I'm 25? Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to click on that, you guys. If there was just an ad that popped up, I am super sorry. I didn't mean for an ad to pop in. You were a really early adopter. Good for you. YouTube came out in 7th grade for you. YouTube came out. I was just graduating. I was just wrapping up college. Undergrad. So I was 21. Nice, you guys. All right, it's 11 o'clock. I am going to wrap it up. Any other question? Dexter is 20 and in Discord if some of my questions. Dexter, you're 20, man. Some little financial missteps, but don't worry about it, man. You're young. Stay hungry. Stay focused on that. Play around with different ways of making money, investing money. Like I said, best advice I can give anybody is figure out how to maximize the percentage that you make on the money that you do have, whatever that is. And right now, if you throw it into a bank account, you can get 2%. That's easy. See, what can you do to make 4%? Is it going to peer-to-peer lending like Prosper? Is it selling something on Etsy? Is it selling stuff, flipping stuff you buy from a Goodwill or thrift store and selling it on eBay or Craigslist? Finding those ways. It might not be the business for you forever, but it's definitely something that you can do. You teach yourself how to make money. And so I used to flip things, right? I used to flip car parts. I used to flip clothes or whatever I got at Goodwill. It taught me, quote, quote, taught me the business side of eventually how to do that with properties. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for jumping in today. I'm going to try to do at least one live stream each week. So hit me up. Like Dexter said, in Discord. I'm always on Discord. It's on my phone. So if you guys text or hit me up or write something in Discord, I'll get it. Other than that, I'm going to try to do another video this week. I'm still on a stock run because I got a couple of viewers or audience members who really talk about stocks a lot and they want to get more on it. And I think it's a great way, like Dexter was talking about, to get into buying parts of stocks that can really help you expand your portfolio. So keep an eye out for that. Anyways, love you all as always. Thank you. Peace out.